Hello folks and welcome back. Sorry it's been a little bit since I put out anything here. I've been pretty busy on my end throughout the past probably about 1 to 2 weeks here. So after looking at everything, I checked over my emails and I got a few requests here. First one I'm going to address is, if you look right here, I have the 3 different stealth ships built. We've got a Curie, we've got a Speel, and we've got a Rabo. Now, I've talked at length about the Rabo. It's pretty much used for everything. Rarely does anyone, even including myself, does anybody use a Speel or a Curie. Basically because they're kind of useless. They don't have enough firepower. They don't have enough armor. The speed is less than a Rabo. So the fact that the vast majority of people use Rabo when they use the Rabos when they use stealth ships. If you go to use a Curie or a Speel, you're going to get overrun and get destroyed every time by someone who's using a Rabo. So what are these most commonly used for? That's essentially what the question was. If you're going to use one, which one are you going to use, or which one should you use, and why should you use it? Well, obviously, you know my answer is going to be the Rabo. But if you cannot afford the Rabo simply because it does cost a stupid amount of resources. I mean, if you look here, where are we at? Am I blind? Where the heck is it? There it is, right in the middle. It costs 29 million metal and 49 million viridium. Now, if you're just starting out, especially if you're just starting out, that's an awful lot of resources. To someone like me and, other people who've been playing for a while, that's nothing. I mean, the resource investment on a large account is astronomical. But if you're just starting out, that's an awful lot of resources, and it's going to take you time to acquire it. The only way you can acquire resources is if you create them yourself. You can't steal them from other players. The only way you gather those resources is by upping your metal refineries, or upping all of your refineries, really. But in reality, upping these, yes, it increases your storage, but it will never increase your storage enough. What Studio Hope wants you to do is they want you to click this right here. It's called the refinery expansion. By doing this, that removes the caps on how much in resources you can create with your specific planet here. And it allows you to go beyond the typical cap. And the typical cap for an average map, let me just pick any random one here. Actually, no, let's not pick a random one. Let's go to one where it would be a good example. All right, 321 here. Now, I use this exclusively for making Sino. Now, if you look here, I have exactly 121 bases. Now, you'd think that would get me an awful lot as far as resources go, but it doesn't. 402,000 metal and 153,000 viridium. That is my cap for this map, just with basic random planet production. Now, if I were to where are we at here? If I were to up the economy here, which you need to do in order to enact the refinery expansions, once you do this, once you pay for the refinery expansion, that'll remove the cap on these and you won't be able to maximize them anymore. They're already at their maximum level. Now, something to keep in mind. When you want to create more resources for yourself, you never, ever do this on a planet that does not have this selected, does not have this paid for, essentially. If you do that, you're going to waste the titanium that you just used because there is a cap on this, because they aren't at their maximum level. The maximum for what you're doing, for a 15-hour production, you're going to be lucky if you get 1 million or 2 million resources, which is obnoxious. So the only way to do that is to pay for this refinery expansion and then do your resource production. That's the only viable way to do it. Anyhow, back to the previous map here. So what are the speeds of these different ships here? Well, obviously the Rabo is 5, the Speel and the Curie are 4. Now, in the question I was asked, are there any reasons why you would use one over the other? Well, the only reason why I would use a Speel or a Curie would be if I don't have the immediate resources to make the Rabo. If you can, if you can, save the resources so you can create a Rabo so you're not wasting in the long run. I mean, if you take a look at the differences here, yes, they all go invisible. Yes, they can all be detected with a detector ship here. But let's start with the Speel. The Speel has 1250 armor with a firepower of 1500. Then you've got the Curie with an armor of 2000 and a firepower of 2400. And then you have the Rabo, 2500 armor and 4000 firepower. Now, you tell me which is better. Obviously, anybody who wants the better ship is going to pick the Rabo. They all, as far as sight goes, they all have a maximum sight of 21 with a weapons range of 12. So just for demonstration purposes, count out 20. And we'll go ahead and light up this planet here. We'll do the same with the Speel. See how it's a little bit slower here. And we'll do the same with the Curie. The only time I ever use a Speel or a Curie, and I have a couple of them, the only time I ever use them is when I want to send them to an enemy map to take out ships. The only reason why I do that is because I don't want to put a Rabo in jeopardy because they are much more expensive. Yes, it takes longer to kill the ships with these simply because they have less firepower, but, you know, I don't mind losing one of these or a Speel versus losing a Rabo, which I really don't like losing them. Now back to speed. As far as speed goes, the Rabo has a speed of 5, the Speel and the Curie have a speed of 4. So we're going to go over here and click them all at the same time. You can clearly see here why having a Rabo would be an advantage and why you would be at a disadvantage if you own these and were being chased by Rabos. Now it looks like I'm going to need more fuel here. Oh, where did I make it at? Let's see, map 42. I think I have some there. Ooh, clearly not. Let's go to map 41 here. Excellent. Oh. Now I need to buy more titanium. I'm having a problem actually purchasing titanium. That's why I haven't bought any. It's kicking off an error message and it's really irritating because the support doesn't do a darn thing about it. Now let's try this again here. Alright, the next part of that question was, if I accidentally run into a 30 gun base that's blue, will my ship survive? Well, the answer is you actually have a few variables there. In short, it might. It depends on how quickly you can get it out of there. If you're just skimming the planet, chances are you're not going to have a problem. But if you keep it in there, or you go all the way through out the other side without turning it around, at a certain point that is, yeah, you're going to lose the ship no matter which one it is. But just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to run these over this 27 blue planet here, just so you can see. I think there's 27 here. Alright, remember, these guns have a a maximum range of 18. So be mindful of how close you get these two, but if you end up actually going across one, as long as it has a detector chip, it's going to light this thing up like a Christmas tree. It's going to shoot at it and you're going to lose it. So, in answer to, will these survive if you accidentally run over them? Well, let's see here. The Spiel, I guarantee it's not going to survive. Not only is it a slower speed, but it's got a whole lot less armor. 50, 25, 0. We didn't even get halfway through. Now let's test out the Curie. I don't think the Curie is going to make it either. I think we're going to get to about right around here. No, we're not going to make it. Next is the Rabo. Let's see if we can make this. Now remember, the Rabo is faster and it's also got more armor. Let's see if we can get through here. If we make it, we're just gonna make it. Alright, we just survived it at 12%. Let's go ahead and heal this sucker up here. So in answer to your question, no, they are not going to survive this. That was a 27 gun. They're certainly not going to survive a 30 gun. Now, the next part of the question that I have, and this is the final part. I mentioned before in a few of the videos how I go to enemy maps and search for their ships that are just lying around just so I can destroy them. And the question pertaining to that was, how do you actually hit the enemy ships on another map when you can't attack a planet? Well, the answer to your question is I don't attack the planet. What I do is I go look for a wormhole, or I look on the outer edges of the map where people like to leave ships, where the enemies that I have like to leave ships, so I can destroy them. Remember, once you get later on in the game, people have production maps. You eventually learn what these production maps are. And a lot of times, people leave ships out. People do it all the time, myself included. I do it all the time. You know, I'm in the middle of doing something, I'll get up and I'll leave 30 groups of Aquin or 30 groups of Cyno or ammunition somewhere, and you know, that's on me. That's all fair game for someone to come and find. Let's go to one of my favorite maps for doing this. 265. At least I think this is it. Yep. This is one of Infinity's production maps. They oftentimes leave a lot of stuff at these wormholes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and see if there's anything just chilling here. Go ahead and get rid of one of these. And let's make a you know what? I'm going to have to bring one from another map. I think I've got another one here. Alright, here we go. You know what? Let's start up here. 265. Now, one thing you got to make sure when you're sending one of these Rabos, or any ship really, to an enemy map, you got to make sure it doesn't dump on a planet. I forgot I needed to cancel this Rabo here before I can bring the other one over, because it's using too much military. They get you any way possible in this game to get you to spend more and more titanium. Alright, let's see where we ended up here. Alright, see, I just dumped right on an enemy planet. If I would have taken 2 minutes to make sure that I didn't dump on there, I wouldn't have landed on an enemy planet, and now it's going to light me up, because as you see right here, this is a detector, so I have to quickly get off the planet, or as quickly as possible. And once I'm done searching around, I'm going to have to send this to a ring. Now, oftentimes, I do this to maps where I don't have any planets on at all. You essentially have two options. You can burn the Rabo or send it back over. ultimately, I generally end up sending it back over because it's cheaper than burning it, building a new one, and resending it over. I highly doubt there's going to be anything around here, just because it's too close to the few planets that we do have here. Alright, nothing by these ones. Now, when you want to travel long distances, and you want to make sure you don't hit any of these planets here, the best thing well, I'm not going to say the best thing, this is what I do, because maybe someone out there has a better way of doing it. I don't know. This is what I do. I see the gap that I want to go through, and I count. I look at the two closest planets, and you can usually tell on the mini-map here. So I go to the two closest planets, and I count through them to see how much space I have. So 62 and 82, 20 on each side. 86 and 82. So I've got a gap here. So I'm going to go at 985 all the way down. Now, oftentimes you can eyeball it. I didn't want to do that just in case. So 985, we're going to go down. As long as I did it right, there should be no problem going through. Just make sure you follow these lines here. Wherever you send a ship, it's going to eventually intersect with this line. That's how you know where. That's the quickest way to know where you're sending something. You'll accidentally click things all the time and not know where you're sending them, but if you look over there quickly, you'll be able to see where you sent it. See, we're going through without any problems whatsoever. Now, there probably won't be anything here or at the bottom one either. I nailed a good, I'd say at least 50 groups of MAU and ammunition the other day, as well as cell. So I think they're going to start being more mindful of what they leave around. And this is big enough where you can obviously eyeball it. Just go to where you think the center is. Send it on down. Now when you're doing this, be mindful of the arc that it's going to make while going down. You don't want to accidentally clip a planet, especially if you already have some of its health taken away. Once you're through, we'll send it over here. And it doesn't look like we have anything. This is one where I'm not too comfortable eyeballing, so we're going to count over 20, 59. So we've got plenty of space, so we're going to go through at 60. I'm going to clip that planet. Oh, that was close. Should have paid more attention. So we're going to go through at 60. The wormholes on the left-hand side here, middle to left, they're more inclined to leave things here simply because we're not there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to weave in and out of all these planets to check these wormholes. To do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over here on this mini-map. I'm going to take the closest planet to the route that I want to take. And you can do that by lining it up with this X and Y axis here. Now you can very clearly see I'm going to hit this one or get very close to it. I'm also going to get very close to this one. So I click on the closest one that I'm going to intersect and I count up. 20. So that's going to take me over at 974. Now it looks awfully close to this. So I'm going to count down just to make sure. So 972. 973. 974. That's awfully darn close. So what we're going to do is we're going to meet them in the middle here. We're going to go across at 973. Now, as long as I'm correct, it shouldn't hit either of these planets. But if you look right here, this planet is sitting lower than this, so we don't want to go too far that we hit this planet. So we're going to count over 20 here. 804, so we know we cannot go past 804. So just for safety, I'm going to go to 810. 973. This should also light up, or it will light up anything that may or may not be around it as well. Now you see we only have a certain amount of space we can work with, but we can send this down without any problems. So our next hurdle is going to be this planet and this planet. We're going to count down 57 to 77, then up 99 to 79. So again, we've got one space we can work with. So we're going to go through at 978. And from here you can clearly see we have plenty of room to maneuver. We're just going to go see if there's anything at the wormhole. And we've got nothing here. Alright, next we're going to go up to these middle two. Looks like I could squeeze through here. It's going to end up being these two that I need to go through. So just to make sure. 69, 79, 89. Oh, I missed it. 9, 9, oh, 89. So we have no room to work with. Oh, what do we got here? That's a nice stash, but that's completely out of my range. I'm not going to be able to get to it. I'll just note that for later. Anyhow. Let's go up here at 88. It's going to take me right by this planet here. Alright, now I've got two options here. I can go left or right. Either way, it's going to take me close. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to take right because I got more space to work with here. Then I'm going to go up. Eventually, you'll be able to gauge by just looking at it where you can and can't squeeze ships into. Then you're going to make the left over here, then go up and out. And we'll check this to see if there's anything here. Nothing so far. Alright, now the next hurdle is going to be to get through here. If you look, you can see a larger gap. Lots of planets around, so how are we going to get through here? Well, you can go the more direct route, or you can go off to the right and go up. Me, I'm going to go the direct route. Just because I don't want to waste time. Alright, so we'll head up through the middle here. And once we hit this middle, then we'll start weaving in and out of these. That's going to clip the planet. Alright, so let's make sure we can get through here. We can, but I'm just showing for purposes on here. So 590. And 600. So let's split the difference right in the middle. We're going to go to 595. Alright, now you see we're getting a little bit closer here. Let's make sure we can get through here. So we have 81. And where's that middle at? Right here. Looks like 81 is just going to get us through. Now be careful because I have to go closer to these planets and I don't want to hit the bottom or the top one, so I'm able to get through here. Then we'll go up through at 81 where we'll be safe at. Oop. Alright, we're about halfway done here. Let's just go off to the other side. I didn't realize that there was a Rabo here already. Wasn't paying attention. Alright, next. Let's go... A couple ways we can do this. You know what? Let's do this the easy way. We've got all this space up here. We have this huge gap. We'll just go up here. Because this is the closest planet to the way we're going to be traveling. We'll go through at 570 because the minimum distance for this and getting hit is 568. Alright, let's go over and check this top one now. Remember, make sure you clear these top two before you click it over. It's going to follow that line, that X and Y axis, to right here in the center of... There he goes. Let's check this first wormhole here. Alright, let's go ahead and go through here. You can very clearly see that it's a large enough gap. So we'll go ahead and count down. Nothing here. Now we'll go to the outside to make this easy. Now watch the arc that it's going to travel. It's going to eventually hit this line here. Remember, wherever you want your ship to go, pay attention to this line. It will eventually intersect and follow along. Looks like I almost skipped or skimmed that planet there. Once we get to this middle one, we'll go straight down. Oh gosh, I don't even think it's possible. Never mind. We're not going to be able to squeeze through there at all. We could go over and around, or it's just easier to go back out, make a left, and go down. Alright. Now we can watch. It's going to follow that line right to here. No, it doesn't look like they're leaving anything out today. What a bummer. Alright, we're going to head back out here. And we've got one more wormhole to check. I don't think we're going to be able to... No, we can't squeeze through any of these planets here. Nope, just not enough room. I might be able to get through this gap here. Let me see. 54. This has to be at least 74. It's not at 71. So we need to go a little lower. Oh, we can get through here. Almost there. And just as an example, if you were using a courier spiel, this would have taken an awful lot longer to get around. Me, I prefer speed. Sometimes this can take forever. So we're going to go through at 67. That's 20 paces away. Alright, now we got to be careful here. We got to go up either through here or directly up. I'm going to go directly up. Now, if you take a look here, we have 4 planets. These 2 are on the outside, so we don't need to worry about them. We do need to worry about these 2 here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count over 20 from here. Yeah, actually 21, but we'll go through at 133. It's going to automatically bypass these planets because obviously they're too far apart. Now for these closer ones, as long as your math is right, you will never hit the planet, ever. Now we can clearly see that there's nothing at this wormhole. So we're just going to check one more before we call it quits here. Oh, we just clipped that planet there. And nothing. I'm just going to send this back through to heal it. Alright, we're all set. Well, those are the three different invisible ships, or stealth ships, whatever you want to call them. They all perform the same function. just a quick recap, you've got the Spiel here, you've got the Curie, and you've got the Rabo. For speed, endurance, and firepower, you're always going to want to use a Rabo. One-on-one, the Rabo will always defeat the Spiel and the Curie. And if you're worried about groups on a map, if you only have a certain amount of groups to work with, and you need more firepower with less groups, you're obviously going to want to use the Rabo. Now, by that same token, the converse is also true. Or if you have a lot of groups, but you only have a little bit amount of military, because remember, your map has to have military in order to get the larger ships through. So if you got a map with, say, 100 planets on it, for whatever reason, you only have 5,000 military on it. Me personally, I do have maps like that because I use them for production. There's no reason to waste military on a production map. So if for whatever reason you needed to put a heavier ship on a map with a little bit of military and you didn't want to buy more military to get a more hefty ship on it like the Rabo, what you can do is, alternatively, you can use a Spiel. The Rabo has a military requirement of 1950, whereas a Spiel, it used to be 900, it's now 600. So you can clearly get a handful of these over versus one of these. And 4 of these are going to be able to take out one of these. So, you be the judge as to what your needs are. But that's really the only circumstance where I can see making more than 1 or 2 of the lesser ships. Either the Spiel or the Curie. Curie looks like it has a military of 950, so... Well, that about wraps up this episode here. I can't really think of anything else I need to show you about these. Yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna go ahead and do this for a few of the other ships too. Well, actually, I'd like to do it for all the ships specifically, so you can see individually what certain ships do and the limitations of the ships. So in this one we covered the stealth ships. Next time I'll probably do... I'll alternate. I'll do some of the bomber class ships next. If there's a question in specific like there was for this one, go ahead and ask it down in the comments and I'll be more than happy to make a video on it. If there's a specific ship that you want to know about, want to know what it's good for, what you should and shouldn't use it for, please let me know down in the comments and I will be more than happy to make a video about it for you. So anyhow, it's December 24th here. Merry Christmas. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down in the comments section. And like I said, I will be more than happy to get back to you. Thanks again, my friends. Merry Christmas and take care.